BPC United. Welcome to another amazing season of fantasy football. Although the draft is behind us and rosters are set, managers are making their final preparations for a season that kicks off just around the corner on September 9th. Now, as 10 of us are already aware, votes were cast in favor of a reshuffling of the current BPC United divisions. So now it's time to draw the teams and find out what our new divisions look like. As your commissioner, it'll be my pleasure to make the selections and walk you through this process. As you can see, the table in front of me has 12 cards, each representing the team name and manager of each of our 12 league members. As each team is randomly assigned a division, their card will be moved from the table and placed on the board to my right. The board to my right is separated into two columns representing our two divisions. Column 1 is Jack to the Tits, and column 2 is What's Your Fantasy. It's important to note the numbers associated with each division. In front of me are two pots. The pot on my left, pot A, contains 12 balls, 6 labeled with the number 1 and 6 labeled with the number 2. The pot on my right, pot B, also contains 12 balls, each labeled with the initials of a member of BPC United. I'll begin by drawing one ball from pot A, randomly selecting either a number 1 representing Jack to the Tits, or a number 2 representing What's Your Fantasy. Then I will select a ball from pot B, determining which team will be placed into that division. Now that the process has been explained, I'm sure you're all anxious and ready to see what our new divisions will look like, so it's time to get my hands on some balls. Here we go. First up, number 2, that is What's Your Fantasy? Who will be the first team in What's Your Fantasy? That is DW, Daniel Watson of Looking Through the Science. First team member, first team in What's Your Fantasy. Daniel Watson, league's current Fliz. Next up, number 1, Jack to the Tits. First member in Jack to the Tits will be MC, that is Matthew Cascadden of Team MCAS. Matthew Cascadden, very active on the trade boards. All right, next draw up is number 2, What's Your Fantasy? Who will be joining Looking Through the Science in What's Your Fantasy? That is JP, Jonathan Parker of Kamara's Cup Hurts. Jonathan Parker, a former BPC United commissioner and all-around nice guy. Next up, number 1, that is Jack to the Tits, who will be joining Matthew Cascadden as the second member of Jack to the Tits. That is AS, Alexander Sully of Devante's Inferno. Alexander Sully, the 2018 Fliz. Next up is number 1, Jacked to the Tits. Joining MCAS and Devante's Inferno will be JL, that is John Luke of Team Luke It's John. John Luke, a 2-time champion of BPC United. Up next, that is number 2, What's Your Fantasy? The team selected, MH, Michael Haynes of Judy Judging Your Girly. Mike Haynes here, our current BPC United champion. Next up, number 2, What's Your Fantasy? Joining the teams here will be DA, Donald Anguish of Team Anguish. Joining Looking Through the Science, Kamara's Cup Hurts, and Judy Judging Your Girly in What's Your Fantasy. Donald Anguish, the 2016 BPC United champion. Next up, number 1, Jack to the Tits. Joining the teams there, I see Ian Campbell. Ian Campbell of Team Ian. Ian is the 2012 champion of BPC United. As I recall, that would be the second year of the league's existence. I can't remember who the inaugural champ was, but anyway, congratulations to Ian. Next up, number 1, Jack to the Tits. Joining them, CM, Christopher Meseroff of CD's Nuts. Christopher Meseroff is the league's most junior member, racking up a couple last place finishes in his short career. Up next, 3 teams remaining. Number 2, What's Your Fantasy? Joining that division, SL, that'll be Scott Lindsay of Poppin' a T-Boner, joining What's Your Fantasy. Scott Lindsay, one-time Fliz. Here we go. 2 left. Number 1, Jack to the Tits. Finishing out the 6th team in Jack to the Tits will be ES, Eric Swedberg of Turd Ferguson. Eric, a 3-time BPC United champion. And our final team is obviously number 2, What's Your Fantasy? And that is Jonathan Meseroff of Tua Legit, Tua Quit, BPC United's current commissioner and 2019 champion. So there we go, everybody. The draw is complete. And as a recap, in Jack to the Tits, we have MCAS, Devontae's Inferno, Lukic John, Team Ian, CD's Nuts, oops, and Upside Down. No disrespect intended. Turd Ferguson. And in What's Your Fantasy, we have Looking Through the Science, Kamara's Cup Hurts, Judy Judging Your Girly, Team Anguish, Poppin' a T-Boner, and Tua Legit, Tua Quit. So our divisions are set. They'll be updated on the website and on the app this evening. So good luck to everybody, and see y'all in week 1.